ladies, gentlemen, and dragon enthusiasts, Caliber is back with a very old school style Edison list. Obviously, got to give props to E3 Yu-Gi-Oh for basically being the only guy who's really pioneered this deck within the last year. Disaster Dragons is completely dead. It's fallen off the map, and I'm sure it's for good reason. Just a little bit of anecdotal experience. I tried playing this deck back at the beginning of the year in January for a somewhat sizable tournament, and there's this locally known legend in the Chicago scene who happens to be a little nice with it on Black Wings. And during that match, I kind of realized that like the reason why this deck isn't really as played as much is because the stuff that we have to do unfair or like have late game bomb shenanigans, decks like Blackwing and even to an extent Vayu kind of just do that inherently, right? They don't have to jump through hoops. First and foremost, this deck's normal summons really aren't that good, although that's not what this deck is trying to do. It can just play a nice little stun beatdown kind of strategy. Unfortunately, we had to make space for some of the back row, so unfortunately I had to cut down on the Mass Dragons. I really do like this card. It sucks that it can get hit by DDV and Caius. Otherwise, if I had the space for it, I'd probably bump this up to 2, even 3, just because, like Armageddon, it's pressure, right? Nobody really wants to deal with this card because it just trades so unfavorably, but then again, it's like they would 100% use a D-Prison on something they can tutor for another dragon. But regardless, I do want more, just because it represents pressure. But in a deck like this, I just think you don't have the space. So you're playing the draw traps. I'm only 2 because I really wanted to make space for just other cards. And a lot of this is based on the spine of the deck that I built back in January. It's been months. I don't even remember what was going on in my head by the time I made that deck. But I know that Keegan was big on a third D-Prison. I unfortunately this was my lineup. This is what I wanted to fit. Maybe one of these could come down. Maybe one of the bottomlesses can come down. But just having the 2 and 2 is a nice comfort ratio. The Red Breaks, this is because it's not only versatile, but it helps you convert like your totems or like even your wyverns or even to an extent Darkness Metal to trade for pretty good cards. So like getting rid of Black Whirlwind or the monster that it's trying to bring out. Otherwise, dealing with like annoying frog, pieces. Speaking of frogs, there is some targeted hate towards them, such as the Karma Cuts, which are really good for getting the Treeborns out of there, and then the Soul Release, which is, of course, in Hero Frog, getting rid of as many hero names and frogs as possible. Other than that, the side deck is pretty standard for what you can play. You can't play like Fossils or Crows, because unfortunately they conflict with the totems. Maybe I didn't give the deck enough of an intro before I started talking about deck choices, but I feel like people know what this deck is trying to do. It's just that, again, it's not really played. Once you figure out what's going on, you're kind of just playing like a Temu Blackwing, so people just try to play around that. There also isn't any like confusion as to what the set could be, whereas like if I summon Shura in a back row, you're worried if it's a draw trap that you don't want to like use a Heavy Storm on. Otherwise, is it Dust Tornado? Is it Icarus? Is it Bottomless? You can't play around everything. This deck doesn't really have that or advantage, I should say. However, where it does thrive is the late game, is if you're able to contend with your opponent for a long time, that mid to late game range, these coming back out and then just applying +1s and enough pressure pretty much seals the deal. And I decided that I did want to fit another boss monster in here, which was White Knight Dragon. This could be Yamana Dragon, even though that card sucks. It could be Light and Darkness Dragon, but it's matchup dependent. I know like a Treeborn can kill this, absolutely. But White Knight, definitely, especially tailored towards my scene where there's a lot of like Black Wings and like Vayu, just like back row lovers. I think White Knight Dragon's a good addition. But yeah, I'm just going to see how this goes, give my thoughts, and see that if this deck did need something, what would it take for like a good deck builder, to be able to cut out pieces that just don't need to be there and to add what they could, especially in the context of 2026. I think there's been a lot of moving pieces now where there's merit to reconsider decks like this, though despite what I've said about the speed of other things, such as like Frog OTK or like even Blackwing decks trying to become like hybrid aggro machines. But yeah, we're gonna load up a set. This deck really isn't anything more than just a showcase for a deck that I personally am a big fan of. Of course, got to build the brand, dragons. So we're gonna play a set, see how it goes. Give final thoughts after. Good luck. Too lazy to roll a dice for the rock, paper, scissors. Alright, so we got our 6. Let's see if we can find it off the top. That kind of gets us there. We're going to Gold Sark for Future Fusion. Now, the only downside to Future Fusion is... this might make him want to play super aggro. So what we'll do, we'll have to set these 2 to prevent him from going balls to the wall. Maybe he gets a heavy and we can actually get some pressure out of nowhere. But what I think I'll also do is I'll set this so that I can have a dragon to summon for Prime Material Dragon. But yeah. I wasn't going to put Kawaki Meru out there because assuming that that thing walks and he doesn't deal with it, then it just gets in the way of our own Future Fusion. Alright, so a hero's coming out. Prodigy, it's got to be Hero Frog. Yep. Seems like this guy's in a rush. Alright, we're probably gonna wait till the next end phase to hit whatever back row, because I think it's like a Regeki break and he's trying to save it for Future Fusion. Alright, let's see what it is. The good news with having a card like Starlight is we can be super ignorant. His pressure kind of sucks right now. That's fine, yeah. Like, the best he could do is Caius, which is like, it's fine, because it's not going to get him. But yeah. It's not going to get him where we need to be. Yeah, so again, he's low on monsters. He can like maybe Miracle Fusion. Fuck. Alright, he set another back row. I'm honestly gonna hit this one. Oh, he got me. He got me good. Yeah, I was thinking he was just like preparing for a Raigeki break, but maybe this guy got me. Maybe he got me good and this is like the card. Alright, that gets us there. Yeah, so definitely want to play this slow because this also represents my only form of pressure right now. And so I'm fine playing a little bit of a back and forth. He's not going to kill me in one turn here. That's not what this deck does. Yeah, that's probably just like a frog. So I would upstart here, but I'm not going to because, again, I don't want to draw like a bad dragon. I want to draw like... Oh, I don't want to draw a brick dragon. I want to send something good here. Alright, cool. So he never had it anyway. 5-headed. Alright, so we're gonna get rid of... Oh, we need to get rid of pressure. We need to get rid of pressure. What could he have? I don't know. I'm gonna send 3 red eyes, 1 darkness metal, and I think I'm gonna get rid of a white knight dragon too in case it is like a rye break or something. But upstart for 1 more card. End phase. Yeah. And then gotta be careful, don't want to bring Kawaki Mirror up too fast before I can get a 5k beat stick. Again, his... Oh! Fuck is this? Now I really wish I had that prime material still in rotation. But, I mean... I'm not super pressed, it's just like... It's just the Raikou. This I do unfortunately have to pay half my life points for. Special. It doesn't deal with Raikou, but it does get us there. Okay. So he's not going to get rid of the thing that gets rid of the +1s. He just wants to... What the hell is this deck? What the hell is this deck? What the fuck? Anyway. I don't really like setting TT here because, again, we have the red eyes, but... assuming he does find another Monarch or something and a way to get it out, at least it gets the red eyes back in grave, and it also makes our Starlight Road, that much more real, because he's got a bigger incentive to heavy here. Yeah, this is fine. Good news is, if we also play into his TT, I can Starlight Road it. I've never seen the... Well... Alright, maybe this guy knows something I don't, but I figured you'd want to play frogs in this. Thank God for White Knight Dragon. If that's the case, if the Raikou's willing to get rid of that, I honestly think this back row is like targeted hate, and he can't deal with it. And in which case, that should have been a Mirror Force. Well, if it was a Mirror Force, these would both be gone, or Starlight Road would have been flipped, so it's not that. I'm definitely going to keep recycling that thing to try to just... Maybe we'll get to see what it is later. But at this point, if he has no way to deal with it, and I've just set him back with not only the bodies, but like one of his Kais, this is just definitely out of rotation. Like, kind of cooked, buddy. Alright. Sure. Alright. That I don't hate. It's fine. Yep. People just play decks. People do just play decks of cards. Alright. When a spell trip, yeah, it targets. That doesn't target this. Yeah, it has to be banished. It's Deep Prison that targets. I can honestly just throw the Kwaki out there now. I am definitely going to start battling here soon, so... at this point, that probably is a Deep Prison. And I'm wondering, should I even risk it? But I need to pressure him. Alright. Set. End phase. Reveal. Yeah. Am gonna miss having both of those guys. Those were really like the only other boss monsters in the deck, but if we have to play the rest of the game with red eyes giving +1s, yeah, this is fine. Yeah, you can. Alright, is there like a return play about to happen here or something? I don't think I can... Yeah, I'm gonna take the 600. This is the best case. He knows about the Exploder. Yeah, maybe he's just trying not to leave himself so wide, because... I don't know. Let's see. There is not a good way to deal with this. That doesn't get us anywhere. I think I just have to deal with it. I think I just have to deal with it. Yeah. Target 1 red eyes. I think I'm just gonna deal with... And this is only normal summon set. This needs to go for this first. And if it's a Raikou, I'm gonna shoot myself. But I think it's a hamster. Okay. Alright, main phase 2. Why did I think I was the one losing life points there? End phase. Again, this is where the deck thrives. Yeah, just normal summon set. I'm very sorry I can't be a little bit more involved with the commentating, but this is just the unfortunate part of having to play. Because unfortunately, this isn't a deck that you can just slam your hand with. Well, it's not like Black Wings, where you can kind of... It's not even like Twilight, where... Yeah, you can just play the game. Unfortunately, there is a little bit of thinking in degree, because this is kind of my playstyle of decks anyways. Like, I always say it, I'm a big dumb guy. I just like to, honestly... play pretty conservative, pretty low to the ground. I never like to overextend. I typically find that my opponent just has it, and unfortunately, whenever I think I'm hot shit, or whenever I think he doesn't have it, I end up finding out in the worst way possible. So, you know, must be nice. Alright. And then... That's always getting in. So, again, he's got no monsters, he's got no back row. We have all the positional advantage, and then, unfortunately for him, he's also locked out of dark monsters, at least for special summoning, which I don't think matters. But, like, Prodigy's not a thing right now, even though he probably only plays the one. So, like, we did have to eat a lot of damage, but, like, we're here. And, yeah, we're here. We're here. I think I'm going to throw out... I don't see a reason to not just start pressuring. Maybe I should have... Probably could have brought out another Red Eyes. I don't remember. Or no, I think I used it last turn to bring out the Drago. Yeah. Battle. This gets over a hamster. Okay, that's fine. And then this one, yeah. Next turn, we just repeat the cycle. Again, this deck is random as hell. Like, I thought I was playing old cards. But I was playing Dragon cards, unfortunately. This guy's playing even older, weirder cards that I have not seen in a while. Like, Alias and the Snowman Eater make me think this is, like, supposed to be, like, a hero beat mixed with, like, flip monsters. Also, not the most... Actually, I shouldn't say that. I was gonna say Monster Mash, but, like, it's just not true. We're bringing this guy back out. If it's another Snowman Eater, I'll kill myself. But at least we're getting rid of one body here. Come on, do your thing. Do your thing. Wow, he really wants to protect this thing. Telling you right now, sitting on a 1900 defense wall is just not going to do it for you. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, if you're gonna think, you should think about deck choices, though. Okay, I really can't be talking here. I don't even know what I'm looking at, genuinely. Oh god, all this for defense position monster, bro. What the fuck? Oh goodness. Okay, about time. Alright, yep. And then main phase 2. I've already normal summoned this turn, so I'm just gonna set 1. And then, do I let this thing die? No, probably not. I'll keep it, just in case he does have, like, some light and dark specialing. I don't think he does. But just in case, I can always just sack these bodies. Although that really goes against the spirit of, like... Yeah. But the thing here is, too, is, like, I'm not just, like, getting rid of these bodies just to get a Red Eyes back in rotation. I also do want to, like, try to proc this Starlight Road. Let's see. Can I go for game here? Probably. 38, 47. Alright. We're gonna go for it. I do not know what the hell this deck was, but in all honesty, I'm willing to just trade all my back row here. What I should do first is I should sack these off to see if he wants to summon anything. And then we'll see if it's like a solemn. Some good. If not, cryo. Again, if it's a solemn, we can chill out, and then we just play the waiting game, because that's what this deck has been doing. Has this back row been set the whole time? Probably not. Okay, that's probably a Raiko. Alright. No reason to give up info. We're just gonna work with what we got. Unfortunately, it's also all of our red eyes. So from here on out, we're gonna be playing pretty low to the ground. Yeah, that's fine. Kai's me right now. I don't, again, so it is weird that I've definitely burned through all the Red Eyes Wyverns. I do have a Call of the Haunted somewhere in the deck. Not completely out of Red Eyes Darkest Metal, and it did apply a lot of pressure. But his deck, he recycled, he set a bunch of guys, he's used a bunch of back row, he's low on cards too. So that's what this was always meant to do. Like, we weren't as late game as I thought. He's definitely had more tank of the gas to grind. I just did not think that was possible. Maybe I committed a little too hard at some point, trying to normal summon the red eyes. Maybe I should have gone for the heavy first. Yeah, there was really no point. We can just do this. Yeah, I'm so fine with this. There is an argument to let him spin back the red eyes, but I'm also kind of out of most of my normal summons. I think there's one totem and one mask left in the deck. You can't do it with Drago, unfortunately. But you can grab out one of these. Yeah, Yeah, I don't really feel like doing the whole, like, checks and balances. You either have something or you don't. Sure. Yeah, I'm so fine with that. At some point, he's gonna play heavy, too. At some point, and it's... I mean, I could play mine now if he doesn't set any back row and just kill him. Yeah, because summon that, summon Drago, like, there's no chance of a fader. Yeah. Let's just make this a non-issue. Yeah. So, safe to say at least no faders game 1. I doubt there'll be faders game 2. That doesn't seem like the style of deck. Definitely did play just a lot of, like, targeting stuff. So I think this configuration is pretty good here, but I would definitely love to slot in these noblemans. I may even keep the Judgment, despite this not being the best, going second. Okay, that's what we can do. We definitely get rid of the Dust Shoot, and then I think these are gonna come in instead of the Legacies. I do want to have real back row to get rid of his his real back row, because that was kind of annoying. And kind of seems like he's pissed off for the amount of time I'm taking, but I don't think I'm being that unreasonable, because some people really will take all day. Yeah, like, first set that comes down, this nobleman is hitting it. I don't think this guy has the foresight to bluff, but we shall see. He did kind of get me with the Pot of Avarice, but I thought that was to lead with, like, something to interrupt the future fusion, and that never ended up working, so that was weird. Yep, and that solves that problem. Goodbye, Rykos. Awesome, nothing in hand. How do I want to play this? I can set this to get around Bottomless, and he has to, like, either attack into it or something. Yeah, we're just gonna try to play super low to the ground. Never mind. Alright. That was a little, it was a little underwhelming. I'm gonna get one... I'm gonna take a look, but then I'm gonna get one more one, because I was thinking this was gonna be, like, one set, but I think we have time for another to make this kind of a concise video. That was kind of a nonsense deck, too. Unfortunately, I was testing against my good friend Christian, who had to see the toxic side of this deck. I'm waiting for... I just want to see what that deck was. Okay, I guess it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's fake anyway. We'll play one more set, see if we can get, like, a real match or something. I definitely like this deck against, you know, the Lightstorm variants out there. Obviously, sticking a Drago, they don't have that much back row. Like, their crack back really sucks. Frogs is an issue, and that's why the deck was kind of built around... Oh! So, GG won. You know, it's not Dragon Turbo, unfortunately, so this isn't as broken. We'll send 2 Wyvern. Send all 3 Wyvern, actually. These kind of suck to open with. 4, and then I want... we'll get rid of Prime Mat, since this one's a little more... just a little more... How would I say... versatile? Where we don't really know what he's on, so we still have to figure out. Not gonna do anything with the future fusion. We are just gonna T-set. Or sorry, I should say, not gonna do anything with a Drago, because I don't want to interrupt the future fusion. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, I'll start. That's gotta be bad news. Yep. Now, how do I want to do this? I think I will normal summon, because again, if that's like bottomless or something, maybe he's also like setting Dushu to try to see. If it's bottomless, we can at least use Prio. We'll see. And the good news is I can just normal summon Totem without having to banish it, because the banish only happens on the Revive. We will bring out Prime Mat. Battle. And then probably Deep Prison here. Oh, okay. Alright, the good news is the OTK is pretty much set up here. We get Heavy Storm back. If he has a check for Heavy Storm, we have a check for the check. Then Drago comes out. You have absolutely no way to stop me from blasting your face in. It has to be a set Raikou. This is... yeah, that's fine. Whatever he's about... oh, he's probably going for level 3. No, it's level 4. Yeah. Okay, so I'm probably stopping this play here with Judgment. I'm fine with that because those back row didn't do anything to me. I have the answer for the back row, sorta. So the synchro has to do the most here, and unfortunately it can't. Which is funny too, because I feel like I was so close to dying, and I'm looking and I'm like at 9k right now. But it's definitely, well, it's definitely a Flame Veil variant, but like what kind? Yeah, we'll just get that out of here. Yeah. So really don't know what this deck is, but I feel weirdly enough like the oppressions are good. Just, I'm not gonna cite him in now. This feels like one of those, how would I say? Actually, 2 Dust Tornado is probably a little too much. Something like this is probably good. I'm really averse to bringing the Lightning Vortex in because I think his whole game plan is bringing out Stardust. So that's just going to be a dead card. Alright. Not the greatest... What is going on today? What is happening? I'm not going to torture you guys with that, but I do kind of want to look at the last guy we faced just to see if I can see what his deck was trying to do. Not to shit on this guy. I mean, his deck was just like whatever, but I need to see what was going on with this in the first place, because again, it's like the reason people play Hero Frog is because it's good control, and you just have infinite +1s to make these monarchs, you know, live pretty much whenever you see them. And I did have answers for them, but I think there were points where he just lacked the bodies to do so. I just straight up, I don't know. Like, this game took a while. Yeah. I'm mainly just looking for anything, like, notable, but, like, we pretty much saw everything. Like, a Lightsworn package. So it's like, I like got all the makings of a Hamster Machina control deck, but then it's like, okay, but you just decided you're gonna play the Miracles, and then there's Caiuses in here. Other than the Caiuses and the Miracles, which again, I still don't think there's enough. There's no conversion. I don't know. Yeah. I could probably edit this part out, but I'm very lazy. I just know this duel. It goes for way too long. I don't know where the next duel button is. Someone help me find that. Yeah. There's probably some misplays here too, but I don't really know. I'm also kind of glad we didn't like wait for him to try to get rid of the Absolute Zero to try to proc this Starlight Road, because if he was smart with the chain block, that could have actually bit us in the ass. But yeah, this was awkward that he was playing monsters like this, but again, it's like, well, I get it, you know, the pop is cool and you were sitting on bodies. It was like, you were kind of waiting for the inevitable to happen. It was just a massive advantage, you getting +1s. And then, like, thinking that long is like, what? Okay. It's deep prison the whole time. And if it's deep prison the whole time, just get rid of the darkness metal. What are we doing? Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was like so fine with this, and I'm like wondering why he didn't apply pressure, and like I guess like I had cards for it, but at the same time too, like I don't know, bro, what was bro waiting for? Look, if I still had to deal with that Raikou, that might have been a problem. Alright, now let's see what's going on here. Like, I think he just quit instantly or something. No, it wasn't that. It was like, yeah, he opened slow, but like, that's your fault for playing this engine. Like, okay, so, to be fair, like, charge in a Monarch deck isn't the most ridiculous thing, because I know the HRC decks like their hamsters so they can convert for the Kaiases, but that's specifically for the Kaiases. Like, they really play the charge because it can search the Raikos and it goes for the Lilas. But I don't know. This was just like, yeah, like this is the piece. This was the piece. I don't get it. You could play. What was the whatever? You probably had to, I don't know, go down for dinner or something. Not to shit on that guy for any reason, but what was the other? What did we just face? Like a Flamvell deck? It's not even worth looking at, but I guess what I can do right now is just mainly go back to the deck and talk a little bit more about it. Like I said, you saw a very good example of, I want to play a very good, like, low to the ground, set my back row, and just kind of have a go at it until I secure a point where I have answers to certain cards that would stop good pushes, like with the Darkness Metal, such as like finding a sweeper. There's argument for True Nade in here too, at least to secure the position, but the problem is True Nade is probably better in a combo-oriented deck, where this is like more like mid-range. Oh, for sure mid-range. Because even the Future Fusion doesn't instantly win me the game. Like, yeah, it gets me the dragons in the graveyard, but like, those are only the only monsters that I'm playing. It's like, if you deal with that and you're able to just get through all my cycles of Red Eyes Wyvern, what else am I to do? Whereas Dragon Turbo instantly converts that to a +3, and then they want to like discard. Or, you know, other decks, I don't know, just other decks make better use of Future Fusion in my opinion, but being able to send 5 dragons is still pretty OP. It's just, you kind of have to wait for it to pay off. This is a like compounding interest deck. The Warrior Ladies have been mid today, but I understand their place here. Sometimes there's just big things to out. Sometimes you got to trade with a hero, unfortunately, or a Monarch, which is not a big deal. And the reason why this ratio is happening here is because this makes it, you know, you have the 1 reinforcement to search it, which, yeah, you know, can be awkward sometimes if you go through these two, and then this. Otherwise, this is just for DDV, since they are 1500. I like these in the deck. You know, they can get awkward if you play suboptimally, but typically it doesn't come up where this conflicts with the Totem Dragon. You specifically need cards that aren't going to go to the graveyard so that this is live. And then, you know, this coming back and randomly summoning a Knight, White Knight, or Red Eyes, or even a Lad if you get to that point in the game. And then you just have some pretty good, like, middle of the ground dragons here, where it's like, this is not a bad stat line for either of these. These are like hero stats. So this could be definitely difficult for Vayu or even Blackwing to try to deal with, because they'll either need the Kalute in hand, or they'll need to see like a raw Sirocco. And again, you play a ton of back row, so it's like good luck getting rid of that. Now, I don't think this is super optimal, and I know that the third D prison was definitely in consideration, just because the second Bottomless can feel slow at times. But at the same time, Bottomless is 100% a good card, especially in the late game where you've traded with bodies. Though, will say, because this deck doesn't trade with bigger bodies as efficiently as something like Blackwing or Vayu, I think I understand why the third deep reason comes in, whereas the bottomless is just too slow. If the monster is already sticked and your deck really doesn't deal with it in that way, there's no need for this. So other final thoughts. I think the side deck is pretty good right now for everything you're trying to cover. Book of Moon especially good against GPs provided with the back row. There was a second Starlight Road in the deck, and I do think I want to maybe slot it back in there. Because again, just the safety of I can set every single piece of back row and you can't do a thing about it because I just have this ignorant insurance policy is cool, but one too many fake back row create that problem of like your pressure is only as good as long as you can keep your poker face up or your bluff, and once they like summon like a Greffer and they just start getting in there and they realize you can't do anything about it, they may just call you right then and there. And at one point there was another draw trap too. I played the Jar of Greed to like maybe make them think I was playing like all six, because the idea is you do want to find the Future Fusion as fast as possible, but I think the upstarts do enough job to get that percentage off, whereas setting these is not so much for finding the Future Fusion, though it does come up. This is more or less to play the game of it's like you can set a bunch of back row and make it super intimidating. Otherwise, if they have a heavy, you can lead with that early so that later on in the turn or later on in the game, once you've tried to bait them out for that fake like 2-for-1, you can start setting your whole hand because the heavy's gone. There's consideration for me to bump that back up because, like I said, while Upstart does do a good job, trying to find the Future Fusion is the best thing. The Gold Sarks also help with that too. I needed space for the Raigeki break. And again, looking at this whole list, there's nothing that I want to get rid of right now. I know some people put this in the side because it is a little matchup dependent, but pretty much every deck of the big three has cards that like want to hit this. Like the Rye Breaks from Frogs, you have in every single trap from like Blackwing and what's it called, Value Turbo. So I definitely still want this in there. I want like another boss monster other than just like the Prime Mat, because once this got outed, that was kind of it. But yeah, the Rye Breaks, definitely good versatile card. Hits Whirlwind, hits normal summons, just phenomenal. Want it in there. It also hits back row too. But those get swapped with the Karma Cuts as soon as Frogs come in, because again, it's very important to get rid of that Treeborn, because you're a very fair deck in the grand scheme of things. You're not fair in the late game, but you're fair for the most part of it. You need to get rid of the +1 machine. This explains the pulling the rugs too. And then I was worried that these would underperform today, but like, not that the deck we played against is the greatest example. Oh, I just remember why he quit now, because he saw a hamster off the top and he was probably super tilted. All right, that's my fault. But yeah, getting rid of the Raikou, just dealing with that immediately was super helpful. Whether that was a Raikou, whether that was a hamster, it was still setting him back. So like, this did its job. Book of Moons for GBs, Book of Moons for Fossil Dyna, outing Duplox, more Frog hate, yeah. So looking at everything, oh yeah, one more thing. All the synchros here are fake, from what I understand, except the Stardust. At no point should your opponent be leaving a tuner, and you don't play Mind Con or Brain Control anyway, so there's no way to actually make use of the synchros. However, you do need to play 2 of these because apparently it does come up when back row gets bounced. This is just played because if your opponent is dumb enough to leave like a Sidra in a machine, then you can steal. Otherwise, the only thing that matters is the Stardusts and the 5-headed dragons. So the extra deck is fake as hell. I definitely do like playing synchro-based decks just because this is the appeal of that format, but synchros really aren't that good anyway. But yeah, big dumb guy deck. I think if there was something that Disaster needed to be able to compete in the year 2026, it would be speed. However, I think when decks like Twilight and GBs are on the rise, decks like this have more merit because the stat line for some of these cards is pretty good. And you're playing like a very back row heavy deck too, so you can deal with like the battle phase shenanigans. You also just have some decent outs to it too. Like I said, the Book of Moons were definitely there for sure. I know Trapstun's a thing as well. That's another card I would like to consider too, is 7 tools. Since I really like this right now, I think this is in huge stocks, and maybe there's an argument to go fit this in here instead of maybe like the Legacies. However, Legacy and Black Wings or even Value is not the same thing as Legacy and dragons, because a lot of the time they're using that to like protect their return. Um, where Future Fusion is not the same thing as flipping a return. Um, Future Fusion doesn't get TT'd unless the five-headed comes out, but a return can meet a torrential, whereas you want to have the insurance policy for that. So I think this card works differently in Blackwing list as opposed to Disaster Dragons, but there is definitely still an argument. Other than that, like I said, Twilight, that being on the rise, you just stick a Drago and literally what do they do? I think some of them play the Mirror Force, some of them play the what was a Treacherous Trap Hole, and it's just like, okay, just don't stick two monsters on the field. You're good. You're golden. Otherwise, like, I really don't see an out that they can have for this. Like, there's even a Lightsworn name. Like, the only one that they have that can potentially get over this, without honest, is Jane, and that's a one of in most Twilight lists. So again, I really love Drago in that matchup. And then GB's, like I said, the stat line for these 6 monsters, getting into the late game with them is at 100% good, because their monster count can get low at certain points, especially when you've dealt with like banishing their single attackers. 100%. And then if you need to slow them down, your deck works good under Royal Oppression. This might look a little weird in a deck that plays Red Eyes Darkness Metal, but again, that's when cards like Totem Dragon, Lad, and like just once you've established your big guys, that's where this deck really thrives. Like, then you flip the Oppression, absolutely, and you have no problem flipping an Oppression when your deck is, or when your field is empty, because again, it's like all you need to do is just find a normal to stick. Otherwise, you just wait till you find a sweeper, and if they're not playing, you're just chilling on back row trying to defend. But yeah, this is a nice little deck showcase for one of my favorites. Like I said, I got to build a brand. Sorry if this went on for a little bit too long. I'm like between, do we play another set because everybody keeps quitting, or did I get enough job showcasing? Maybe at a certain point I can bring this against like Blackwing or Frogs or something, and then we can, you know, test its merit a little. I know it's a bit of an uphill climb, but the gap is a lot closer. It's not so much like a they're not like 60-40 even. It's probably way closer. But yeah, appreciate it. Thank you guys. God loves you. Goodbye.